Hey guys, it's me, Mama C. I'm all back from my trip to New Orleans, and as many of you saw on the post on Facebook yesterday, scrambling really hard to get everything caught up, back in order, processed, emails answered, all that kind of stuff. So please just be patient with me. I will get everything taken care of as quickly as I possibly can. But what I wanted to do today, before I went back to the stockroom to finish up all of those things that need to be taken care of, is to follow up on the last video that I did on October 13th and the spell work that I did on October 21st. I promised that there would be a new and important ritual that would take place after I got back from New Orleans. And with the outpouring of interest in that, I wanted to make sure that I followed through on that obligation and took care of that today so that we weren't all scrambling Friday night to get supplies and get prepared for what can promise to be a really, really purposeful and important ritual. Now, I know that a lot of you saw in my last video, I was frustrated, I was upset, I was very emotional. This year has been a shit year. It has. And from the outpouring of comments via email and telephone and posted on the video and posted on the Facebook page, I definitely was not alone. There's a lot of people that shared with me many of the things that had happened to them throughout the year this year. Now, I hear a lot of that already, just on a daily basis, because that's part of my job. As a witch, when somebody contacts me and says, this is what's going on in my life and I need some clearing of the energy, or I need a spell, or I need this or that, I listen to the stories. I mean, that's part of what I do. It's kind of like being a magical counselor, so to speak. So I know the pain, the shame, the embarrassment, the unhappiness, the shock, the surprise, the things when things go bad. And this year's just been, it's been bad for a lot of us. And the things that have happened, what I promised you and what I promised myself, that 2014 is going to go down in the record books as the year of shit. Yes, it is, and it's one I do not want to repeat. So we're going to make 2015 a banner year. It's going to change. We're witches. This is what we do. We change things. So 2014, this is the perfect time of the year. It's the witches' new year. We change everything over, and we change it to something new. So, excuse me, I had to toss the ringing phone because I'm not going to answer that in the middle of my video. You guys know how I do my videos. I just get up here and talk. Now, today I do have some notes because there's some important things that I need to say. So, please excuse the ringing phone. It'll stop in just a second. We need to banish all of these negative things that have happened to us in 2014, renew our souls, revive ourselves, and prepare ourselves for 2015 to be the year we want it to be. Now, on October 13th, I produced that video. You can see it on YouTube, or you can see it on Facebook if you need to go back and see what it was that I was talking about then. And then on October 21st, I published a spell. And the spell was directly related to really opening myself up to my spirit guides to let them tell me what it is that I needed to hear, what I needed to know, what I needed to do to change things and make them better for 2015. And the thing is, this happening and occurring so close to Samhain, it's sort of the perfect time for it. Samhain is when we celebrate those that have passed on. It's when we celebrate the ancestors, those that have gone before. And there's another thing that we celebrate called the mighty dead. And honestly, I know this is a term that was probably familiar to a lot of other people, but maybe it wasn't to me until I heard it used by Storm Fairy Wolf, who you guys have heard me talk about from time to time, owner of the Mystic Dream, and is also does some of the ritual work for the New Orleans Witches Ball, using the term the mighty dead. And the mighty dead are the magical people that have gone before. They are the power sources across the veil that we want to express our gratitude to for making the way, for paving the way for us magical people now. And they're also there for us to petition, to ask for help, to connect with. And this is the time of year when we want to try to do that. Most modern Wiccans and pagans celebrate Samhain on October 31st and November 1st, coinciding with Halloween and the Day of the Dead. And I've seen a lot of high and mighty muckety mucks get some seriously pissy because technically that is not Samhain. Samhain is the cross quarter day, which occurs this coming Friday. But whether you are able to perform this ritual this Friday or not doesn't really matter. It would be very potent if you could, but if not, do it when you are able. Because all of the rituals, all of the spell work, you can add power to them by phases of the moon, by astrology, by doing them on particular Esbats or Sabbats, all of those things. But when it comes to the basics of it, it is all about intent. So don't let somebody look you in the face and tell you that you're wrong, or that your spell won't work, or that you're a bad person, or you're not a real witch just because you didn't do it on the exact day that they told you to. So while I'm going to be doing this ritual this Friday night in conjunction with the Samhain Cross Quarter Day, if you need to do it tomorrow night or Saturday night or sometime next week, it's okay. You still can. I would double check the astrological signs just to make sure that if there's any kind of added power you can get out of it, that you use that. But really, honestly, the precise dates of so many of the festivals and rites and things we're very flexible with them nowadays, and it's simply for convenience. I mean, sometimes the timing just sucks. If you're sitting there saying, oh, I've got this really big, important ritual to do, it's Beltane, and I got to do this, but my daughter's getting married. What's more important? That you be at your daughter's wedding, or that you do a ritual at the exact time that somebody tells you to? So what I'm saying here is take this information that I'm giving you, and if you can do it at the same time that I'm going to do it, and I know that some other people are going to be doing the same ritual Friday night, that is great. We are adding power to each other across the veil. If you cannot, do it when you can, because it's still going to work. It's going to work just fine. It's going to do exactly what you need it to do as long as you have the intent behind it. So there, all about your timing. The great thing about the timing of this ritual that we're going to do, this banishing, this getting rid of this sucky ass year that we've had, and moving forward into 2015, season of the witch, is that Friday night is a night of like superpower. You know, it's kind of like witches on steroids. You have the Samhain Cross Quarter Day when the veil is at its thinnest. We also have the full moon, which occurs on Thursday. I think it's around 5:30 Eastern Standard Time p.m. But that energy will also still be available all day Friday, because full moon energy lasts for about 48 hours after the moon is actually full. So you've got your full moon energy, you've got your Samhain Cross Quarter Day, you've got this thin veil, and so you've got a lot of power there to access. The sun is also in the sign of Scorpio when it's on the Samhain Cross Quarter Day, and the sign of Scorpio is the sign of enhanced consciousness. So what you've got, in addition to the moon, to the thin veil, to the cross quarter day, you've got the sign of Scorpio, the sun sign, which is the sign of expanding consciousness, of magical knowledge, of magical power. So you're just getting all of this extra oomph piled onto this ritual if you're able to do it Friday night. Now, there are a lot of traditions and a lot of rituals for this time of year. There's too many to name. There's too many to explain. They all have importance, and they all have meaning to those who perform them. The one that I'm going to do is just mine. It's the one that I'm going to do the one that I'm going to work. So if you like it but want to add other things that suit your tradition, knock yourself out. I mean, change it however you need to. This is just the basis of getting rid of all of the garbage that we've had to deal with this year. And like I said, you could see that in my last video, I was emotional and tired and frustrated and angry and pretty much just kind of fed up. And all of you that responded were also as well. Okay. So the sadness, the hurt, the shame, all of the things that just flooded, it was really pretty awful. And it made me sad for so many of us that didn't deserve to feel that way. So my intention here is let's just freaking fix it. When things that happen that we don't expect, sometimes you just sit there and you go, uh, and you feel like, oh my God, what do I do? Well, you got kind of two options. The first one is to wallow. And when I say wallow, you can sit down, you can go to the fish market, you can find all the nasty entrails, you can just roll in it and rub it all in your skin and swallow it and stick it in your brain and go, oh, it's so gross and I feel so bad. I'm so depressed and I just want to lay here and cry and that's all I want to do all day long. I don't want to ever get up again. I just want to be miserable and there's nothing I can do to change things. No. No, no. I say a big to that. Fuck that. Because you have a choice. You can lay there and sweat it out and cry and be upset for a little while. And then it's time to stand up. It's time to stand up and do something. I'm about to sneeze. Goodness, I got all excited there, didn't I? It's probably the incense that's burning over there. But anyway, it's time to get up and do something about it. It's time to take action because as witches, that is our job. Our job is to take action. So you can lay there and wallow in it. And if you're a wallower, you should probably just stop watching this video about now because everything that's going to come after this is not going to affect you at all. Because if all you're going to do is lay around in your fish entrails and let yourself, go into a deep depression and not try to fix anything that went wrong, well, okay, that is your right, that is your prerogative, but what I'm telling you next is not going to do you any good, so, grab a blanket and go do your thing, okay? But if you're ready to take the step to turn what's been a bad year into next year's spectacular year, here's how we do it. Okay, the first thing is I'm going to go back to that spell that I did on October 21st, that spirit guide spell. It was a very powerful 7-day spell. And as witches, when you're looking for guidance, especially from your spirit guides, your ancestors, your mighty dead, you have to open yourself up to reality. Some of you have seen and done my black mirror spell, and you know that can be very difficult and very painful. And some witches will never actually look in that black mirror, or they will never do a spirit guide spell because they're scared. They are scared to find out the things about themselves that they need to change, or the things about themselves that they need to admit. They don't want to. They would rather just keep facing the world being who they are, hurting people, or not doing what they're meant to do, or whatever it is. They would rather avoid the truth than get in there, dig in, and open up. And when I say open up, I don't mean I'm gonna open up. I mean I'm gonna open up. I'm gonna open up my brain. I'm gonna open up my heart. I'm gonna open up way down here, deep, deep, deep inside me, in my soul, in my sex, in everything in my body. I'm gonna open up and try to figure out what it is these guides are telling me. Because the Christians call it that still small voice. Witches have the same thing. We call it intuition. We call it the universe. We call it our spirit guides. We call it any number of names. But basically what it is, it's those voices telling us either you're on the right path or you are on the wrong path, or hey sister, there's something that you need to fix, change, or admit to yourself. And I have to say that when I did this spirit guide spell, it was painful. it hurt me a lot. I was already in a very emotional position, and to open myself up like that, to hear the things that I was needing to hear, took a lot out of me. It really did. I took a full 7 days to do that spell, and there were some things that I didn't want to know. And now I know them, and now I can deal with them. And it doesn't mean I have to like it or be happy about it, but I can deal with it and I can move forward. And so I'm not repeating the same cycles over and over and over again and looking back and going, oh my God, why does this keep happening? It keeps happening because I allow it. So with the spirit guide spell, I got a lot of things that I need to get rid of, things that don't serve me in my life anymore, disappointments, things about myself that I need to change. And that's the hardest part when you do a black mirror spell or a spirit guide spell like this, and they look you straight in the face and say, you know what, Chicky, there's something about you that you need to change. It can be, you know what, you're a real bitch. You're not nice to people. You need to try harder to listen and not talk. You need to try harder to accept people for who they are. Or you need to try harder not to blame your problems on everyone else or every other situation, and never accept responsibility for whatever it is that's wrong with you, or your house, or your relationships, or whatever. Or it could be, it's time for you to stop being a doormat. Half your problems are related to you letting people run over you. Time to get the tire marks off your back. There's any number of situations when you do a spirit guide spell like that, or a black mirror spell, where you go, ow, that really hurt. But that hurt has to come in order for you to release whatever's inside you, but you have to be willing. Because you can hear this all day long. You can hear it from yourself. You can hear it from your guides. You can hear it from other people outside of you. But if you are not willing to make those changes, if you are not willing to release what it is that is causing these problems in your life, then nothing's ever going to be different. Next year is going to be the same as this year. And 2016 will be the same as then. And then it'll keep going and going and going to be a never-ending cycle. For instance, when you want to end or banish a situation, and you take that ex that is still bothering you, that you can't seem to get rid of, and you have that kind of personality where it's hard for you to let go. And I'm not talking about like an ex that you have children with, because sometimes, you just have to deal with assholes like that. I mean, you do. I'm talking about, the ex-boyfriend, the ex-girlfriend, the ex-friend. The person who seems to always call you when they're in crisis. The person who loves to boss all over you and make you feel bad about yourself, and you're sitting here going, I don't understand why I'm letting them talk to me that way. There's lots of situations like that you may need to get rid of in your life, but here's the thing. We can go through the process that we're going to go through Friday night. We can go through and burn them. We can go through and get rid of those situations. We can go through and find that thing in ourselves, that defect that lets people treat us this way, and we can get rid of it. But then 2 days later, when that asshole ex texts you and you turn around and you text him back, you've blown the whole thing. So there is follow through to what we are going to do here. Okay? Because once you've banished and burned and sent away into the ether with the help of the ancestors and the mighty dead in this night of power that we are going to have on Friday, if you let it back into your life, that is your fault. It doesn't mean the spell didn't work. It means that you didn't follow through on the spell. Harsh words, but truer ones were never spoken. So be ready when you decide to get rid of whatever it is that you're going to banish out of your life on Friday, that once you get rid of it, you're not going to let it back in. You have to learn to say no. You have to learn to back off. You have to learn to recognize whatever it is in yourself, that defect that makes these things happen. or you have to recognize in other people the defect in them that affects your life. Okay, y'all follow me so far? I know sometimes I talk really fast, and I don't script videos and I don't edit videos. So if you have any kind of confusion or you aren't sure what it is that I'm talking about, ask me. Email me, mamacreepy@mamacreepy.com. Hit me up on the live chat. It'll probably be off for the rest of the day today because I've got to get back to the stock room and make sure I keep getting these orders processed that came through while I was off. But I did want to make this video today because we only have 2 days left until this hour of power that I'm talking about and the spell we're going to be performing. So I wanted everybody who wanted to join me to be prepared. Now, you're going to need some supplies. They're really, 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 really basic. Not much of a big deal. You are going to need, I made a little list here. Okay, a white candle, a couple of black candles, something to carve the candles. Now, you know I use a candle scribe, which is a brass stick specifically made for that purpose, but you can use a sharpened pencil, you can use a toothpick, you can use, anything that will carve into the candle. There will be some words that you want to carve into the candle. You're going to need an offering. Now, you guys know that I use blood magic. And for me, what consists of blood magic is wrapping a rubber band around, kind of like what the nurse does. I have my sacred pin, which came from, I think, Joanne Fabrics, that stays in my altar. I pop it, and I have drops of blood. Now, your sacrifice can be that. It can be flowers. It can be food. It can be dragon's blood resin, frankincense and myrrh resin, herbs, any of those kind of things make offerings. What we're doing is we're making offerings as we're doing the spell to the guides and the mighty dead that we are appealing to here, okay? We're not talking about like ritual animal sacrifice or any of that bullshit. I mean, just don't even go there with me. All I'm talking about is an offering to give over to a lot of the Buddhists use liquor, a splash of liquor. There's so many different things that you can use. Just use whatever you're comfortable with. I prick my finger because that's just the way I've always done things, okay? You will also need a cauldron, fireproof bowl, a fire pit, wherever it is that you can do your burning. Okay, I've got a big cauldron that I plan to use outside, barring the weather. If the weather's bad, well, I'll be probably doing it in my kitchen or on my altar, whichever space I decide is going to be the easiest one to use. Okay, you need unrecycled paper. I use parchment. I use unrecycled parchment paper. The reason why it needs to be unrecycled is because anything with recycled paper that has been written on it before or used before comes through with your spell. So you need blank, fresh, unrecycled paper. I use parchment because parchment's very traditional. I like the feel of it. I like the magic that it adds to my ritual, but it doesn't really matter what kind of paper it is, okay? So between today and tomorrow, before you do the spell on Friday night or later on whenever you end up doing it, you need to write down these things that you need to banish from your life. Okay? I want you to do it on pieces of paper about this big. I don't want you to sit down and write a notebook. I mean, I know people that want to sit down and outpour their emotions, and it's like, 17 paragraphs, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's great if it's on a Facebook post or a blog or whatever, but this is for a ritual. And we want them all on separate pieces of paper. And the reason why is because we're not going to do this big confetti thing and just throw them in the fire. We're going to feed these one at a time and focus on ridding ourselves of whatever this is. For instance, for me, and this is a very private ritual, so I suggest that you not be spilling the beans to everybody about what you're trying to get rid of, but I don't mind sharing a couple of things that need to be removed from my life. One is the fact that I'm a doormat. I am. I'm very easily taken advantage of, and I tend to let people use me in ways because I'm a very generous person. I'm a very giving, very generous person, and I like being that way. But I'm also a very high level empath, and so when I don't necessarily get back the gratitude or good feelings from it, Or if I am generous to somebody and then they turn around and they really fuck me over, I mean, it tears me up. I mean, it really puts me in a hole. So that's one of those things that I need to rid myself of. That's a defect with me. I don't want to lose my empathy. I don't want to lose my generosity. What I want to lose is that sinking, sick, not in the belly feeling when a situation like that goes south. I want to be able to say, hey, you know what? I was a good person. I was a generous person. I was a kind person. I did this for a reason. It was not taken appreciatively. So, okay, that's fine. You know, that's the part I need to get rid of because I can't let the actions of other people affect who I am here. Because who I am here inside, that empath person, that generous person, those are not bad qualities. I don't want to get rid of those. I want to get rid of the reaction I have when I am hurt by somebody else. Because that's when I fall apart and that's not really a good thing. Okay? I also need to get rid of the fact that I tend to take on too much. And I always want to do the best job that I can at everything that I do. And when you take on too much, it's impossible to do the best job you can at everything you do. So this year, my business has suffered. My family life has suffered. My health has suffered because I can't say no. So that is a thing that I need to banish from my life. I need to reorganize myself. I need to prioritize. That's something I need to focus on. I need to get my priorities straight. So the things I want to banish is my inability to keep my priorities straight. Okay? You see where I'm going with this? I don't really have any particular people in my life that I want to get rid of at this point. I've had some people that have hurt me very badly this year, but they're not people I want to get rid of. They're, well, except for maybe one because she stole from me, and hey, I'm just not down with that, but we'll see if I can get that one handled another way before I go dark with it. But also, I've gained some weight this year, and I want that weight to go away. So I want to banish my bad habit of not taking care of my health. So now you see where I'm going with this. These are the things that you need to be writing down on these pieces of paper. And you need to be saying, this is what's important for me to get rid of. This is what's caused some of the problems that I've had this year. It can be your asshole ex. It can be your best friend that screwed you over. It can be weight gain. It can be something within or without yourself. It can be an exterior circumstance. It could be your neighbor that is letting their dogs run wild and biting your child. Whatever it is, these are the things you need to focus on writing down on these pieces of paper. Okay? Okay, so that's what I want you to do over the next couple of days. Think really hard about what it is that you want to feed that fire, that you want to banish. And remember, once you do that, you cannot let it back in your life. You can't. If you let it back in your life, you have failed. The spell was worthless. Okay? Okay. Same page? Yep, we're good. But I promise you, and look here, look deep in my eyes, in the green eyes. If you do this like I tell you, if you do this and you mean it and the intent is there and you banish these things, it will work. And next year going forward is going to be just great. Of course, we'll have bad things happen. Of course, there'll be things that get on our nerves. But it's not going to be anything like the disaster that 2014 was. I will sit here and tell you, if you do the spell and you mean it, it will happen. It will be good. It will work for you. Okay? Okay. Now, I will publish the actual physical spell, the chant, like I usually do. Later on, it will probably be tomorrow because it's getting late here now and I need to go ahead and write it and think about what I want to say. I will publish that on Facebook, but I wanted to go ahead and get this video out there to explain the timing, what it is that you needed to be thinking about, what supplies that you needed, and when we're going to do this spell. It will be Friday night for me, probably somewhere around 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And We're not going to be able to all get together and do it on video, I wish, because that would be really, really cool. But since we'll all be doing it at different times, what I want us to do collectively is to think of each other and empower each other to rid ourselves of this sludge that has followed us, the things that we need to let go of, the things that we need to banish from our lives. And collectively, as witches, no matter how far apart we are, we can do that. We can give our power to each other because we are magical beings and magic is power and we all have it. So, tomorrow, you'll see the spell and the copy of this video again on Facebook so that you can go through. If you want to perform the spell with me Friday night, I will be outside, barring the weather, doing it. I'll be thinking of all of you. I'll be adding my power to yours, and I will be bringing and blessing in a brand new witches year for all of us. Now I'm out. I love you all. Mama say.